Hey everybody, welcome back to my Eurovision React Review channel. So it's another early morning for me. So I've woken up early to check out the acts that have been selected for Benidorm Fest 2023. Now, actually what ended up happening is I woke up to ton load of drama. I've learned over the years, always expect some drama when it comes to Spain selecting its song for Eurovision. Firstly, it seems like the announcement was a bit chaotic. So we were going to have it on Saturday, and then apparently RTVE basically said that needs to be brought forward in case of a leak. So they basically announced that it was going to happen yesterday, but then last minute they said it might not happen yesterday. And then they did announce it. That sounds fun. And then the second thing is obviously the huge disappointment amongst Spanish, I would say, Eurovision fans in regards to the 18 names being announced and the lack of, I guess, expected big names. So I think Spanish fans were expecting, after Chanel's successful result last year and also the successful Benidorm Fest 2022, I think Spanish fans were expecting almost like the Spanish music festival along the likes of San Remo in Italy and Melfest in Sweden. But that's obviously not what people got. Can I just say, the likes of San Remo and Melfest have had years to build up that credibility, that legitimacy, that respect. It's going to take a bit longer, I think, for Benidorm Fest to talk about Benidorm Fest in the same way that we talk about Melfest and San Remo. I can see why this has now brought a bit of less excitement. Like RTVE this year and everything that they've said in regards to Benidorm Fest 2023 has been about building excitement. And I can see why people, now they've seen the names, are less excited. Like, if you're a subscriber and follower to my channel, you will know that I was in Serbia this year. I was lucky enough to be in Serbia on the day of the final when they selected their act. And I can definitely say having built big names in your, I would say national final, but that's also an issue now because a lot of people are now basically calling Benidorm Fest a national final as a derogatory term instead of a song festival. But nonetheless, like having big names in Serbia definitely did bring a lot of gravitas to that contest and a lot of media attention and also a lot of attention across Serbia. So I can see why there would be some disappointment. However, on reflection this morning, in bed with a cup of coffee, trying to process this all, I just want to say a few things to kind of calm a few people down. Number one, big acts, big names do not always do well at Eurovision. So obviously there are known examples where they do well, particularly from the UK. I mean, we had Cliff Richard, who did extremely well from the UK. We had Katrina and the Waves, who won for the UK, both established artists. Even if you think of people like Guy Sebastian from Australia, he is an extremely established artist and he did well in 2015. And Sergei Lazarev from Russia, he did extremely well as well. But I mean, there's countless examples of big acts not doing well. I mean, Darude, 2019, didn't even qualify. Cascada in 2013 underperformed. I remember historically Angen, is that how you say her name, from France in 2012? She was a huge name going into that, and she massively underperformed. Hooverphonic from Belgium in 2019, a huge name, didn't particularly do very well. Jessica Mauboy, 2018 in Australia, she was a big name, didn't particularly do very well. And then you've got acts that are really big in their countries that have failed to qualify. I mean, Xen, for example, in 2021, she failed to qualify, and she's huge in Romania even now. And Franca from Croatia in 2018, she failed to qualify, and she was huge in Croatia. It was a big coup that Croatia was able to send her. So being a big name doesn't really mean much when it comes to success at Eurovision. I mean, we should know Bonnie Tyler, 2013, we tried it and it didn't particularly go our way. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is unknown acts do well. I mean, take last year, Spain, Chanel was unknown. She was unknown, fairly unknown in Spain, and she was extremely unknown outside of Spain as well. And look at the result that you guys got. And moreover, Constructor from Serbia, not only did she win her national final against huge names like Sario in Serbia, but she also obviously got an amazing result at Eurovision. Now, for different reasons, Chanel, because the song was good, but what sold it, I think, for the international community was the performance and the staging. And with Constructor, it was the song. So I think let's not forget here that big names don't really mean much in regards to being competitive at Eurovision. It's going back to basics. Send an artist that can sing well live, that can perform, and send them with a decent song. It's not rocket science. I mean, if you take some of the past winning acts in the last 10 years, like Emily de Forest, winner from Denmark in 2013, she was very unknown before she won Denmark's Melody Grand Prix. And I mean, Salvador Sobral, winner from Portugal in 2017, he was pretty much unknown and then went on to win Eurovision that year. And finally, Duncan Lawrence. I don't particularly think Duncan Lawrence was a big name in the Netherlands when he was internally selected and then eventually won in 2018 as well. All three of those, in my opinion, I believe, were fairly unknown in their countries, and they went on to win Eurovision for that country. So I think we've got to remember Eurovision is a contest, and we are all sending songs to that contest to do as well as we possibly can. And I think whether you're a big name or whether you're not a big name doesn't really matter. I mean, I've just realised, 2021, Barbara Pravi, where she came second from France, she was massively unknown in France. And again, great performance, great voice, great song. That's all you need. Thirdly, I'm not a huge fan of having huge names in national finals because I kind of think it's slightly unfair and it skews away from the purpose of a national final, and that's picking the best song. So I remember in 2016 in the UK, we internally selected Joe and Jake. And I remember being really annoyed. I felt that there were other better options of songs, but because Joe and Jake had a huge social media following and we had 100% televote, so I know that obviously in Benidorm Fest it's 50-50, isn't it? 50% jury, 50% televote. So that will, kind of counter what I'm about to say to a point. But I just think it gives them an unfair advantage because ultimately they'll have a fan base and they'll pick up the phone for anything because they love that artist. And I think as a result of that, it might mean that you end up selecting a song that isn't as good as other songs because an artist has a huge fan base. So I think we need to bear that in mind as well. And I learned that the hard way being British in 2016. I was so annoyed that Joe and Jake represented the UK because there were better songs, but they got the nod because they had a bigger fan base at home that were prepared to vote for them. Number 4, the international community don't really know who's big in Spain. I've had people sending me names the last week being like, oh, this person's rumoured, this person's rumoured. I'm so excited, it's my favourite artist. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And it's me that you've got to think about in regards to appealing to, because I'm outside of Spain. I'm the one that picks up the phone for you. So we don't really know who's big. And it's also slightly unfair being British as well, because you guys can send an act and they could be huge, they could not be huge, and no one will really think too much about it. But the UK, there's a bit of pressure because if we don't send an act, in my opinion now, that has some sort of credibility, some sort of legitimacy, then everyone doesn't think we're taking it seriously, and then we get penalised when it comes to the televote. I think part of the reason why Sam Ryder did so well last year is because people were perceiving us taking the contest seriously. So there's pressure on us to send an established artist to a point where you don't have that pressure. You can relax because we're not going to know if an artist is huge in Spain, in my opinion. Some people will if they're well versed in world music, but that's a significant minority. And the last thing I want to say is, in my opinion, yes, obviously this announcement has been chaotic. I don't think RTV are stupid. They've made it very clear from the very beginning where they basically said we're not interested in hosting because we want to win. We want to win and then host. And everything I'm seeing, it seems like there is now belief after Chanel's result. and RTVE are in it for the win. With that logic, I really do think that there is a potential scenario where established artists, whether they're old school or whether they're now, potentially did send songs. But potentially they just didn't get shortlisted because the jury actually did what they should have done and actually considered the actual song. In my opinion, that's how I feel here. I don't think RTVE are stupid. I really genuinely think they're going for the win. And as a result of that, I think they know the artists themselves is irrelevant. I think the only thing, I guess, that they've missed the mark on slightly is to continue that momentum, because at the end of the day, Benidorm Fest is a music contest or a song contest on their channel, and their channel does depend on ratings. Without some big names, it might lessen the kind of excitement which has happened, but big names also bring in big audiences. So that's the only thing. But I don't think RTV, that's not important for them. I think the win is important for them, and I think they'll do anything to win. And I think the fact that out of all of the artists last year, the one or the only one returning is Blanca, which makes me feel that if she's returning, and whilst I wasn't it wasn't my favourite song last year, it was quality. So at least that gives me a bit of comfort that there will be some guaranteed quality if Blanca has been selected, which makes me again think, will all the songs be quality? I don't know. I might be speaking out of turn. But I guess the last thing we need to say is, everyone calm down. You have not heard the songs. You have not heard the songs. I would rather have 18 amazing songs by unknown artists than 18 known artists with meh songs. So that's in my opinion. So I will be honest with you, I don't know any of these acts really, other than your man who represented, is it Albert? The guy that represented Spain. I know that there are other acts, like there's a RuPaul Drag Race winner, isn't there, amongst the mix. But someone has done amazing. They've created a video, a compilation video with songs from all of these acts. So I'm going to check this out now, because last year Benidorm Fest was my favourite national final. So I do feel slightly invested, and I am gutted I can't go next year. I had every intention, but the flights from Milan to be able to get there just doesn't work, because I can't take time off between Monday and Friday, unfortunately. So I was dependent on a Friday night flight to be able to go, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So let's have a look at these acts. Camp. Okay. Oh wow, this is the RuPaul Drag Race winner. Okay, so a drag queen that can actually sing. Right, so Alfred's coming back. I mean, I know Alfred. This is no news to me, right? I mean, going back to the idea of quality, I don't know whether this sound will do much at Eurovision. Okay, sounds a bit more current and fresh, this artist. A bit dubious. We've had similar artists like him before from Spain that haven't been able to do as well. All I'm gauging from this is, I guess, their visuality, the sound of their voice, and I guess a previous song to suggest maybe that might be the sound that they send. There was nothing then that was particularly exciting. At least this is a bit different. So what is this, a rock band? Okay, this is the first act that's actually made me slightly excited, but for all the obvious reasons. There is an element of the fact that if the sound is quality and respectful, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do well. I can think of a few examples. What was that song that represented Portugal the year after they won that was very much in this same remit that just didn't really attract any voters whatsoever, because it can just come across a bit meh. But again, Alice Wonder might be setting something completely different. We don't know. Okay. Ooh. I mean, sounds promising. A young artist that can dance, that can sing, that has released a song that sounds upbeat and fresh. Okay. Okay, so I'm slightly intrigued about this artist, I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't know whether I'm just really in tune with the colours that I'm seeing here. But I'm just trying to kind of gauge something a bit different, something a bit fresh. At the end of the day, what we saw with Chanel is if they can sing, if they can dance, and if they can hold their own on that stage like they've been doing it for years, then it's a recipe for doing extremely well. This is giving me that vibe. This feels like Melfest. I'm glad she's back. Actually, I met her at the Madrid preview party. She is lovely. I don't normally like this sort of sound. Not gonna lie. Another male vocalist that can sing well. Quite a few young females with boppy songs. So last year, what did we have? We had Chanel, we had Sara Diop. Where's Sara Diop in this mix? Okay. Sounds promising. Okay. Evidently, all his songs must be copyrighted. Jedward has given me as much twin action I want to see at Eurovision, so not excited about Twin Melody. No offense, ladies. Bit of Avril Lavigne sound in there. I mean, we're certainly going to get what we got last year, aren't we? And that is variety. There sounds like a variety of sounds. I'm quite interested, but I mean, you know, to what extent was that actually useful for me, other than introducing me to these artists? We just have to wait until the song's right. So this Saturday, they're going to do a program where they're going to interview each act and they're going to kind of give a bit of, I guess, narrative regarding the sound of their song, is my understanding. Okay, fine. I mean, I now know the artists. Well, at least I can put a face to a name. So let's wait until Saturday and then we'll know a little bit more. Okay, so I need to go to work now. So on that note, if you're still here and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Please do support my channel. Please do click the notification button so you're informed if and when I post videos. And yeah, until next time, stay safe.